other women who were also very active in their communities and in their own right. And one of them was Ah Kum Kee. Ah Kum Kee was born in Carson City in 1876. And because the superintendent of public schools in Nevada said Chinese children can go to public school, whereas in San Francisco they could not. They had to have their own separate school. Ah Kum Kee, learned English fluently, could speak to all the community people. Her father was a good friend of Dwayne L. Bliss and Henry M. Yarrington. He was a labor contractor. He was a merchant, and he had his wife own 2 boarding houses so that the workers, the Chinese workers, could stay at their boarding house. And he was the leader of the community and very wealthy. Anyway, he promised poor little Ah Kum Kee to be married to a man by the name of Chung Kee of Hawthorne, who was a merchant and a labor contractor and also a close friend of Henry Yarrington, and built the Hawthorne Public Park, put the trees in, helped build the train to Hawthorne and so forth. And so at the age of 14, she married Chung Kee. They raised at least 6 children. And when her eldest son Charles, went to school, he turned to his mother after the first day of school and he said, "Mom, I don't want to wear Chinese clothes to school. You make me American clothes." So back to the sewing machine, she made him American clothes, and all of her children thereafter dressed in American clothes, and she felt that this was an important thing for them. Ah Kum Kee and her husband lived near Schurz, Nevada, which is a Paiute community, and they saw that the Paiutes were very poor, and so they worked very hard to teach them how to farm in a desert community and how to do different other things, which helped the Schurz community prosper. And when Chung Kee died in 1909, Ah Kum Kee took over the business, and in 1910 she's the only Chinese female farmer in all of the state of Nevada. And because she not only ran a farm, or what they call a garden, because the Chinese never owned a lot of land, it was just a small plot of land, the Native Americans would help her come and farm, and they also allowed her to have her sons and herself fish in Walker Lake so that she could provide the Hawthorne community with fresh fish at her restaurant. And one of the ways that she made a lot of money was to prepare lunch, pre-prepared lunches for the miners. They'd come by and pick up a sack of food and then go to the mines and work. But things weren't going so well financially for her, and so she decided to move to Tonopah, where her friend Lily Sue Ford lived, and I'll go into Lily Sue Ford in a minute. And there she became, because she spoke fluent English, a member of the larger community. She did not live in Chinatown. Her children went to the public school in Tonopah, and one of her daughters, Myrtle, decided, when the school play came for Thanksgiving time, that she would be Sarah Winnemucca. And another time she was Pocahontas because of this Native American connection that they had. Well, Ah Kum Kee, again, couldn't really get along well financially in Tonopah, so she moved up to Virginia City, where the Keys were in control of a lot of merchandising in Virginia City, and her younger sons went to the 4th Ward School, which is a famous school in Virginia City at the time. Well, that didn't pan out. She moved back to Hawthorne, and finally she decided that she was going to move to Reno, Nevada, where her sons were working, and they participated in the 4th of July picnics and parades and activities, and whenever any news reporter wanted an interpretation of what was going on in the Chinese community, whammo, it was Ah Kum Kee who gave the interview, who gave the story and everything. So she was very tied in to not only the Chinese community in Reno, but to the larger community. And finally, during her last years in 1929, she moved to Berkeley, California, where her son was living with his wife, and she's buried just above Charles Crocker in the cemetery in Oakland.